In this edition of the Parliament Report, Traffic Amnesty fails to make an impact. Help promised for persons whose houses were damaged by Hurricane Sandy. And public sector pension reform set for implementation in January. The government's much publicized traffic ticket amnesty exercise has failed to meet its primary objective, that of collecting huge sums for unpaid traffic tickets. After projecting to collect nearly $2 billion in outstanding traffic tickets, the government is reporting that it has only managed to pull in $5 million. The amnesty expires next month. The ministry's failed attempt to collect revenue from the amnesty has left a hole in its budget. A little more than $920 million in appropriations in aid for traffic tickets and outstanding sums from the amnesty are set out in the ministry's budget. Permanent Secretary in the ministry, Dr. Anne-Marie Barnes, says the regular sum collected from traffic tickets this year is below the projected amount of $450 million. Dr. Barnes says a similar sum was anticipated to be collected from the amnesty. She told members of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee on November 7 that the ministry sought assistance from Cabinet. According to the Permanent Secretary, the Finance Ministry has so far allocated $200 million to fund the Ministry of National Security's shortfall in revenue.
So far this year, we've gotten $172 million from appropriation and aid from the traffic ticketing, and we have been encouraging the security forces to ramp up their efforts. So we anticipate that within the next 5 months, we probably should be collecting close to another $150 million.
Another $280 million is to be allocated to finance the ministry's expenses. However, this comment from the Permanent Secretary did not go down well with committee members Dr. Dayton Campbell and Fitz Jackson. Campbell suggested that the Permanent Secretary was sending a strong signal to the security forces to go after motorists and issue tickets to boost revenue. Fitz Jackson also raised concern that expenditure could have been predicated on infractions. Deputy Commissioner of Police Glenmore Hines, who also appeared before the committee, sought to defend members of the force, saying they were duty-bound to uphold the law. He said the police high command had not given police personnel a quota of tickets to issue. Jamaicans whose houses were severely damaged during the passage of Hurricane Sandy on October 24 will receive vouchers valued at $60,000. Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller says another $30,000 will be provided to repair the 2,271 homes which sustained minor damage. The assistance to homeowners was announced during a statement by the Prime Minister in Parliament on November 6. And Mrs. Simpson-Miller says the Jeep housing program will be adjusted to provide housing to persons who lost their homes. And help is coming for banana farmers whose crops were devastated by Hurricane Sandy. According to Mrs. Simpson-Miller, a $100 million loan has been secured from the People's Cooperative Bank to help resuscitate the banana industry. And a further $13 million allocation from the European Union Banana Support Program will assist small farmers with fertilizers and insecticide. The Firearm Licensing Authority, the FLA, says it has cut in half the backlog of applications for licensed firearms to 2,000. Gilbert Scott, Acting Chief Executive Officer at the FLA, says the agency will clear the existing backlog by the end of the current fiscal year. The FLA has indicated that the lengthy delay in obtaining security clearance from the various police departments had helped to reduce the gun permit process to snail's pace. Fielding questions from members of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee on November 7, Scott said the FLA had made changes to the process that started from application to decision. He told the committee that the Minister of National Security will shortly be announcing the launch of a facility in Montego Bay to serve Western Jamaica. And finally, in the Parliament Report, new entrants to the public sector will be required to make a contribution of 5% of their salary for pension. Current public sector workers are expected to start making their pension contributions before the end of the 2013-2014 financial year. This will form part of the government's proposed public sector pension reform program. Minister with responsibility for the public service, Harris Daly, says the money will go into a segregated fund under trust. He told his parliamentary colleagues on November 6 that the current pension system in the public sector was unsustainable. He says the government is moving full speed ahead to implement the proposed changes. And that's how we bring the curtains down on this edition of the Parliament Report. Thanks for joining us. Until the next time, I'm Edmund Campbell saying walk good.